Hello. Passionate about sustainability, energy, and climate? You're in the right place. Welcome to Energetic. I'm Maureen Cornelis, and together we will engage with people who dedicate their lives to climate justice and making a just energy transition happen. They may be activists, scientists, policymakers, or other enthusiasts, just like you. Let the life stories and insights inspire you to build a better future for people and the planet. Dynamo at the helm of Earthbound sneakers' green revolution. With a spark ignited by an inconvenient truth in his youth, Mikael Hietala turned a moment of revelation about the omnipresence of fossil fuel-based plastics into his life's quest. This journey led him through the world of biochemistry and economics, fueling a fascination with the intricate dance of cellular mechanisms and the global economic machinery alike. A couple of years ago, Mikael's path took a pivotal role as he joined Earthbound Sneakers, channeling his fervor into impactful initiatives. Under his stewardship, the company notched up notable firsts, launching the world's inaugural Ecotech Standard 100 certified sneakers and steering Croatia Premier B Corp certification. Mikael's expertise spans the environmental cost of textile, the secrets of nature's carbon sequestration, and a holistic approach to ESG pillars, integrating environmental, social, and governance factors. I'm really super excited by this conversation, Mikael. Welcome to Energetic.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
So, how did your, let's say, early exposure to environmental issues shape this vision for your work and also for Earthbound Sneakers? And how does this now influence your job and the company's strategic decision? Tell me more about your life, Mikael.
Okay, so let's start with the childhood. So I was always drawn to nature and to animals of all types, and I loved spending time outside and was fortunate enough to go on plenty of vacations with the family. And that kind of drove me then to start studying something linked to the natural world. So for me at that point, it was then after high school that I was drawn to biochemistry, because I always had this desire to understand how things work on a very specific level. So that was a kind of a perfect match at this point, because I was able to dive deep into seeing all the different components of a cell. And this was very fascinating to me. And then I also started studying economics a bit later, partly because this could maybe open some doors later career-wise, but also because this included the mechanisms of how societies function and how money markets function. And at the point when I was studying, the sustainability this was like early 2010s. So sustainability was getting more traction, but still not at the level it is now. And the problem was that I did not see a way to get into this as a career. So then it was still, for this level, it was still more like I saw the sustainability options more on kind of government level, EU level. So I kept studying this and saw like my path into maybe a laboratory or some pharmaceutical company. This was like kind of the route. But then everything started switching when we have all these influential figures talking about sustainability and all different types of kind of different initiatives and this extinction rebellion causes, and it really became like a for topic in discourse. So then I was able to say, okay, this could be something that I can actually pivot into. And then that's why I needed to take this step to work with Earthbound. And I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to work with them, dive deep into sustainability and really shape how the company functions and be the person behind our third-party certification work, because that was important to us to prove that we are doing what we say we are doing, that we have 97% bio-based sneakers, and to back that up with laboratory results and then with B Corp to show that the whole company is functioning towards a greater good.
That's so fascinating, everything that you're saying, because the previous episode with Shanna Gallagher was really about certification and like international standards for sustainability. So I'm really happy to have this conversation now because we can dig in deeper into what it means in practice for businesses to be certified on their sustainability standards and so on. So, I mean, if for a message for our listeners, please catch up with the previous episode as well, because those two are really responding to one another. But in practice, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into Earthbound and what it is, the founder's idea as well. And then you'll tell us everything about the certifications and how it works, how was like the journey into getting certified too. But let's start first with Earthbound sneakers. What is that?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is the project of two founders, two brothers from Karlovac, Croatia. So their father had a sneaker factory. So they were producing sneakers and quite high-end luxury sneakers, mainly out of Italian leather. And the business was going great. Everything was fine. But the brothers at some point noticed, then they saw firsthand the amount of chemicals and compounds that went into the sneakers that they described this to me in the beginning. That was mind blowing. They saw these canisters of glue, huge amounts of synthetic glues coming into the factory because that's how the traditional sneakers are crafted. So you have perhaps a polyurethane bottom, then you have some kind of synthetic fossil fuel-based glue, and the leather or plastic components fused on top of that. And when you think about it, there's really then not so many natural materials. And as one of the brothers so eloquently put it, that many of the leathers that we see on the market are really should not be considered a natural product because they've been treated with so many different heavy metals, perhaps, or just different compounds that they're basically a natural material sealed in a sea of chemicals. So this was the motivation for them to start making a radically different sneaker. And this town, Karlovac, is on 4 different rivers, of which all are beautiful, this mineral blue color. And it's a very dynamic ecosystem. So that was where this nature part also came in for me, which attracted me to the work. And Earthbound is the brainchild of these two brothers, and they took their experiences and in design and shoemaking to really craft a sneaker from as many bio-based materials as possible, and to also state that we're all continuously improving on our journey to make a 100% bio-based sneaker, and hopefully one day to have it also compostable. That's like the dream, but this is still some time away, but that's what we're striving towards. That was always their goal, and I like to see how focused they are on this, and it's a pleasure to work with them.
Oh, that's great. I mean, because at the moment you say that they are 97% natural, and I love that you say that it's 97 and you don't go for, I mean, you're not at 100% yet. And you're honest about that. And this kind of honesty brings a lot of transparency, a lot of trust. I mean, if I buy your product, which I haven't done yet, but I will definitely look into it, I know that nobody is trying to brainwash me, or it's not greenwashing at all. It's really like you are supported by science in your process, but you're also certified. So what are those certifications like Ecotex, Standard 100, and what is this B Corp certification? Can you tell us more about it?
So let's start with the Ecotex. So this is an Austrian certification. So this is in the niche of contaminants and potential dangerous chemicals for human health. So this is like based on the REACH standards of the EU. So this has like endocrine disrupting chemicals, potential carcinogens. So then they test the components to make sure that there are no even trace levels of these compounds in the fabric. So mainly before sneakers, which was this pilot project with us, they usually worked on clothes, on pillows, cases, on linen. So it's well known for parents. I knew about it before because I remember it stood for the bed sheets for the children. So
I remember when my daughter was a baby, everything was Ecotex. Like everything I was looking into, it was like, look, we have this Ecotex certification. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's renowned, well known. And then we were lucky enough to have a pilot project with them to do it for a sneaker. So we sent each compound of the sneaker, and some sneakers that they then took apart, dissected, and put into the laboratory testing, and the results came back that it was what we had thought, that it's free of toxic chemicals. So that's part of our business, is that we try to make sneakers that are good for humans, like good for our feet, and good for the environment, or light on our feet, light on the environment. So yeah, this was a testament to our hard work and to the hard work of the brothers in the beginning, that we really have a great supply chain. I think that was the main lesson we learned, that our supply chain management is excellent, because we mainly work with companies that have certificates that they can show us, or then very reputable producers of materials who we have visited and seen their practices. And so nobody is trying to do anything other than what they've told us. So we're getting excellent materials that are bio-based and clean of any of those harmful chemicals.
And what is the B Corp impact, like certification?
Yeah, B Corp is a movement by B Lab, and they mainly explain it as a movement for good business. So like a force to transform business as a means for good. So this is a way to have a credible and comparable standard for impact that is centered around the 3 ESG pillars, so environment, social, and governance. And they have in their impact assessment, which then a company fills out before certification, it looks at the governance and also the workers, the customers, the society, and the environment. So it has 5 aspects. So kind of governance has been split into 2, and social has been split into 2. And so then once you have a score that over 80 points on their scale, then you are one of these B Corp companies that is a business that is sustainably run in the short, medium, and long term, hopefully, and that is also doing something positive for either the environment or the community, or just run on a very transparent level.
Wow, so it's really a lot of work and commitment, and you're involving a lot your customers in this journey too, right? I mean, the website is very engaging. It's clearly designed for, let's say, Gen Z and millennials, like who are, let's say, environmentally conscious and so on. So it's really seems to be a really cool product. But you said, so again, we said 97% natural. What are the biggest, let's say, the next steps to achieving the last 3% towards 100% sustainability? And is it possible, like as in the retail sector, in the fashion sector, because the fashion sector remains one of the biggest polluter, and there's a lot of waste, a lot of overproduction. There is, the environmental damage of the fashion sector are huge, and still there are only little steps that have been done so far. And I mean, the European Union is moving in a certain direction. France is now planning a tax on fast fashion. So there are things that are, let's say, going in the direction of making sure the clothing sector doesn't become the biggest culprit for climate change, basically. So how do you envision the race towards those last 3% of sustainability?
Yeah, great question. It is possible. We could be at almost 100%. We could have just a minor, like 0.5%, if we change the polyester stitching into cotton. But this is something you could argue about for hours, because we wanted to make the sneakers into something that's durable. So we don't want to sell new pair of sneakers to each customer every few months. If we switch to some of these other natural stitching threads, then the shoes would fall apart much faster. So that's what we had to make that decision. And you can argue for either one, for the natural-based yarn or for the polyester yarn. But now there's some interesting alternatives on the market. So some bio-based polyester or bio-based polymers that are much stronger than cotton. Cotton can then, when comes against some type of friction, it can tear or just the basic wear and being pulled, it's not as strong as these other fibers. And then we have metal eyelets where the laces go. So those could be also changed to stitched. For now, they're like that for the aesthetic purpose. I mean, that's not fossil fuel based, and it doesn't have the largest carbon footprint. And then the main problem would be the natural rubber outsole, because the natural rubber, if not treated, then it would just kind of, I don't know, then it kind of stretches by itself already. So it needs to be
So it
vulcanized.
would be like chewing gums,
Yeah.
like walking on a chewing gum, on a bubble gum in the street and have this kind of sticky pink thing under your feet.
Yeah, so it needs to be vulcanized to make it like what you see now, what all the rubber is out there. But that's what we're also exploring. Different producers and different options. Would someone be able to prove to us that they are using some bio-based additives for this vulcanization? But that's it. There's these three minor things. So we're all the time exploring and seeing what we can get on. At the moment, there's very many interesting polymers and materials out there, but many of them are university pilot testing kind of programs. So excellent research, but not available for business use.
That's so cool because I mean, with your like background in biochemistry and economics, you're able to make conversation between those two worlds that are actually, and you can have like the nice conversation about the rational, economic rational and so on, and the supply chain and so on with your background in economics. But you also understand what is at stake with like the sourcing of the right material and how they are made and how you can actually break them or unbreak them and so on. That's really super cool to have this kind of total understanding of the potential solution. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how your sneakers are going to evolve in the future as well, because I mean, there are a lot of, I mean, yours and the one from your competitors, including the very big brands that I won't mention today, who are also pretending or also trying to go into this kind of sustainability journey. But many of them are not like even saying that they use natural materials. They will say, for instance, that they reuse fishery nets for the plastic and so on. But it's like a really different view on what sustainability should be. I think that you seem to have a very clear vision of what sustainability should be, and that's also very inspiring and very comforting, maybe for your consumer, for the customers. And about that, in what ways do you think Earthbound could influence somehow consumer behavior towards more sustainable practice? And so far, how successful or impactful do you think those efforts have been?
That's great that we're talking about this, because that's one of the metrics that we measure and we work on to see that, okay, for us and a select few, that this is a great story, but what about the masses? What about the consumers? What are visiting the site, buying the products? But we've seen that there is a increase, especially in their understanding that the fashion industry is very detrimental to the environment. So we've seen like a nice clear increase in the share of consumers before and after that say that they now understand the negative impact that fashion has, and especially as footwear, because there's some Greenpeace reports about how footwear is still like even a decade behind other fashion, that somehow the footwear factories are not as regulated as the other types of textile fashion. So there's really a lot of pollution in India and in China of the waterways. And it's really sad to see that the rivers being made into an environment that you can't even put a foot in, or else you'll get some kind of chemical burn. And it's very eye-opening for sure. So that's why we have the certifications too. And that's part of the strategy, to be as transparent as possible, because as you say, there's lots of competitors and we cherish having competition, and we are very happy to have people working on the right thing, but we would like everyone to be transparent and to say exactly what they're doing and for what reason, not to try to make small wins into huge milestones. Let's say it like that.
Yeah. I mean, so now you would like to encourage your competitors to be more transparent about their practice, because you try to be like the beacon of transparency. And that's really, really an interesting view. Like you're a small company, but trying to be the like leading in sustainability approaches. And there is another thing. I mean, energetic. Usually it's mostly about energy. For once we go into the retail sector, but I'm really happy that we go because it's part of the sustainability and the climate conversation. And usually we talk about energy. And one of the things you told me when we prepared this episode is that you had decided to switch production to a factory powered by solar and geothermal energy. So how does it work, and what impact had this had on your operations, on your sustainability goals? Can you share anything for, let's say, any listener coming from a business that would like to embark in this kind of journey? What step did you undergo?
No, it was an important issue as well. But I think that this one is kind of multifaceted, that it's very industry probably. I don't know from other industries, but I would assume that it's industry specific as well as case specific. So we were lucky enough to find an individual who was very passionate, that he had some good success in other business. And then he was very passionate and understood the danger of climate change and wanted to, like this B Corp style, be a force for good. So he had this state-of-the-art factory built and completely powered by solar, and then inside it's cooled and heated then in the respective months by geothermal pumps. They're right underneath, also not from anyone, just at the site. So it's really excellent. But we were lucky enough that he had that clear vision. I think sometimes then it's that if you have the tax benefits or some discounts for installing solar power, then do you know exactly how to run it on solar power? Are you using it to the extent that you should? Is it completely solar powered? So it's something that you need to talk to in length and to do your diligence before switching to that. And if you have maybe if you're thinking about for your headquarters or for your factory or for your offices, and to also have an expert to really think in length about how you're going to make the switch and how it's going to be viable and how it's going to be helpful. But yeah, we were lucky enough that someone had a clear vision and understood the importance of this, and not just in terms of the bottom line, in terms of long term, it's going to help. It's going to help with potential fluctuations in energy price because of new directives and such like this, what we've seen with the gas prices and diesel prices. So I think it's a great direction for the future.
Yeah, it shields also your company from the evolution of rising energy prices and also carbon tax and so on. Because this way, if you get also certified that somehow your shoes are like not polluting because of the energy they are using. So that's also really important and inspiring. And I like how thorough your company tries to be. But what future initiatives do you have in the pipeline now for Earthbound, for yourself? How would you like to further your commitment to sustainability and environmental stewardship? How would you like to see further consumers with Earthbounds, further citizens with Earthbounds on their feet, right?
Yeah, I'll start with just like an anecdote that now whenever I'm somewhere else in Zagreb, some other city, then I'm always kind of on the lookout to see if I see any Earthbound sneakers, so I can introduce myself, because we're still so small. But I haven't seen some here in Croatia. I see quite many, but out in Europe, I haven't noticed too many yet. So, but I do see a shift towards more kind of this green fashion, green sneakers. But yeah, anyway, back to the main topic. So let's start with the realistic stuff first, and then we can go to the more outlandish things later. So we have in the pipeline, we will be following this, or we'll be following and taking data, so we can continue then for recertification with B Corp. It's a process. It will always be a process to track our process and then make any strategic decisions based on. Also, they have to involve the ESG then metrics and angle.
Yeah, sustainability is a journey, right? Like it's like this certification, somehow it's a B Corp certification. It's somehow a starting point for doing much more work and keep on doing good work, especially as you are certainly planning to expand your business, as I can hear. So it's about like maintaining the same quality even as you grow, and that's really how humbling this kind of certifications can be. So that was the technical part. Let's move to the other kind of, let's say, initiatives that you're thinking of.
Yes. Okay. So in addition to the following up on our certification, then we have some more community outreach programs. We'll be hopefully speaking at some events to further this discourse about negative impacts of fast fashion and synthetic materials. We have potential collaboration with other B Corps. So this is also a importance of this certification, that then you join the community of all these other amazing individuals that have the same idea for how a business should be run. Then we have some potential new projects that I can't talk about more, but that we have some funding for some other types of interesting projects, potentially with an even higher share of bio-based materials. So that's very interesting. And those are the realistic things that we're focused on. And then the more outlandish things would be that we have then start talking with, we're always open to talk with the bigger company to then consult with how some of the materials can be replaced by synthetic materials. Because, for example, we use hemp in the sneakers, and this is like a super material. It has one of the fastest carbon assimilation rates in the plant world. So as it grows, it takes in the CO2, and from that, it produces lignin and biomass in a very efficient way. And it's very strong then. So for us, it rivals all the plastics that are obviously completely different. So natural versus synthetic does not always have to be a trade-off. And then, for myself, I'm looking to further this B Corp movement, because this was just really inspiring to see how there's a way to that. Or I love this shift in the business world, that it's not just about the bottom line. It's about also the impact on the environment and how to involve consumers. And I really like the direction the markets are going, and especially in Europe, I see a real strong urge for this from consumers. So I'm open to helping other companies become B Corps and guiding on impact assessment, guiding on systems change. So yeah, lots happening. It's a great time to be a sustainability professional, that I can say.
That's great. And I mean, I love that you are going into, that you have the spirit of thinking together we can be stronger, and we can go further and faster as well. And at the beginning, you also mentioned like the kind of end of life of your product. Like you would like them to be somehow compostable. I think that's so cool to have compostable shoes. That would be such a success. But the EU is also thinking of a right to repair. There was the parliament recently voted on measures to avoid greenwashing as well. So there's so many interesting things that are unfolding. And to repeat with the previous episode about like the sustainability goals, somehow they can be certified through ISO certifications as well, with international businesses and so on. So that's really super inspiring. Sustainability, of course, is a journey, but I'm definitely looking forward to having, let's say, the possibility to do that any of my purchase is a sustainable purchase, and that sustainability becomes so mainstream and so the norm that we don't, as a consumer, I don't have to think twice about it. And that's kind of my dream for the years to come, and for my child to have options in that direction. So is there any upcoming collaboration partnership that you think would help propel Earthbound sustainability efforts forward? What can we expect from Earthbound sneakers in the years to come?
Everyone can expect more models that are based on Croatian nature, and we always try to do a theme, which I really love, and the design team is amazing at that. So everyone can expect exciting new models. Then people can expect more kind of scientific information from the sustainability side of the company. So we're going to potentially work on a water footprint also, and then also to more information on our SDG alignment, more information about where the materials come from, why they're used. And then, I don't know, just see us at different events talking about what we do, and hopefully nice sustainable growth, so we can gain a larger share of the markets, not for ourselves, but so more people are wearing shoes that are great for them and great for the environment. That's, I think, in a nutshell, what can be expected. So
That's great. And walk in nature and in cities with those shoes that are great for you and for the planet as well. Thank you so much, Mikael. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's next for Earthbound sneakers. By the way, if this conversation made you want to try Earthbound sneakers, here is a discount code of 10% valid until the 18th of April. It's NEC10, NEC10. So thank you so much, Mikael, and thank you so much, Earthbound.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Energetic. It's been a pleasure diving deep into the world of sustainability and the just energy transition with some of the most forward-thinking mouths out there. I'm Maureen Cornelis, your host from policy consultancy Next Energy Consumer, and it's been an incredible journey growing this podcast together with you, our knowledgeable and passionate listeners. Since 2021, we've shared countless stories, insights, and ideas over more than 40 episodes, and it's all thanks to your support and enthusiasm. If you enjoyed our journey so far and want to help us keep the conversation going, why not support us on Patreon? Every bit helps us bring more inspiring content your way. Check out the show notes for the link. And hey, if you're a part of an organization that shares our passion for a sustainable and inclusive energy future, we're excited to explore sponsorship opportunities with you. It's a fantastic way to connect with a dedicated audience and make an even bigger impact together. Shout out to the fantastic Igor Mihailovich from Podcast Media Factory for his incredible sound design work, making every episode a joy to listen to. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Energetic on your favorite podcast platform. And if you think a friend or a colleague could benefit from our episode, we'd love for you to spread the word. It helps us grow and keep the energy transition conversation alive. Sharing is caring. Follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn to stay engaged and update on all things energetic. Thanks once again for lending your ears. Until next time.